This property belongs to Maine Farmland Trust. It was acquired in 2011 and with the purpose to preserve it and sell it to a farmer, to have farming come back to Rolling Acres. And when that didn't happen, we thought of other creative ways to use the property. And in 2016, we started the residency program. We received some support from an artist foundation, the Falcon Foundation, the holders of the work of Joseph Fiore. And we began small with 4 visual artists from Maine, 2 in July and 2 in August. And when we felt like we really had put some strong quality on the ground by also working with the Alliance of Artist Communities and really following best practices for the residency program, we began to expand. So this year, in 2018, we have 8 different residencies happening. We have 6 visual artists, and we have an international residency position and also a position for an Indigenous artist from Maine. And we have 1 writer and 1 performing artist.
I was looking for a residency for the summer. The setting was very much the same as the setting that I imagined for the setting of the story. A farmhouse, rolling hills, the lake in the distance between the trees. And we're also surrounded by these beautiful paintings by Joseph Fiore, who this place is named for and in memory of. And I find those also very inspiring because my stories and books are place-based novels, and I just am so inspired by the way he has rendered landscape.
Joseph Fiore was a painter and an avid environmentalist. That really served as a foundation for what became the Joseph A. Fiore Art Center here in Jefferson, Maine. That is a passion of his that continued throughout his entire life, his commitment to his work as an artist and his commitment to the environment.
So this year I brought 22 artists here. We retreated for 4 days, and on the 4th day, we welcomed the public to see the work that we had done. So we sunk into the land. We shared our gifts, our interdisciplinary gifts with one another. They were dancers, visual artists, a forager, and an astrologer, and a cook, among others. And together we simply shared our gifts with the land and listened very carefully to let the land be our director. This place gave us such a sense of freedom and generosity. It really opened us up.
For me, my idea of going for residency, it's mostly about local culture and about people. One of the advantage of being in Maine, and I think in general in any program in a very countryside, rural area, is you have a lot of space. That would not be possible for any of the program that is in the city. But I think the valuable here is that when do I get a chance to meet somebody in Jefferson, or when do I get a chance to see this and this and that, where at home we don't have that.
All of the visual artists are here for a month, and at the end of that month we have an open studio day that's open to the public, and anyone can visit. It's very kid-friendly. We have live music, free ice cream. We have the studios open so that the public can come in and talk with the residents and see the work that they've been doing. And we find that it's such a rich opportunity for the community because people that may be familiar with galleries get a very different experience about seeing the artist in their process, in their creative process, and how a sense of place and community can influence the work of the artist.
Well, a residency is a great opportunity to get away from your everyday life and kind of come to a place where you can just focus on your work. I've gone swimming, I've taken an afternoon off, and I think that's part of being in a residency, is to not necessarily produce a lot of work, but to get inspired and to kind of feel like you have the freedom to explore.
So one way that we're integrating art and farming here at Rolling Acres is by having a garden for the residents. We have a resident gardener who is here for 5 months from May through September, and the gardener grows food for the residents and for some of the events that are happening here. Twice a month we have guests from the art community, the farming community, the writing community in Maine come and attend a dinner with the residents. It's a wonderful way to cultivate connections for the residents, for them to share about the work that they're doing here, from them to learn from other artists or writers who are already far along in their career. The dinners are a wonderful melting pot of conversation around art, creativity, writing, ideas, the state of our world, conservation. So it's a very rich place to share around the table with food grown right here at the residency.
This land, oh this land, and how it meets the lake. The generosity of this sacred place has cracked me open to my core. It's as though I've been invited to dwell, no, to play ecstatically like a child in the garden for a short while. These days were like a dream. These days were like a dream, like time outside of time, so full of light, so full of rain, laughter, love, spirit.